There is one thing disasters often do, whether they are man-made or those of Mother Nature. It is bring to the fore those who are truly heroes. Those who do without thinking. Those who never for 1 second seem to think about their own safety. Those who make us think twice when we use the word hero, talking about someone who scores a game-winning touchdown or sinks a 50-foot putt. There are so many such stories we have yet to hear 10 years after Katrina swallowed New Orleans whole and spit out death and despair. Here's one you need to hear. He was a member of the National Guard when the storm hit, 10th generation New Orleans native, armed only with a boat and a passion to save lives. It's a pleasure to welcome Ken Bellau to the Hardline. Ken, thank you so much for being here, and I got to tell you right up front, the admiration of a lot of people in the next couple of minutes, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is a fascinating story, Ken, because you were part of those. You weren't really going out there looking to rescue people, but you took your boat, you went out there, and what did you find? Because I got to imagine that as somebody who lived in New Orleans, what you saw in front of you was such devastation that you could never have imagined.
Yeah, well, first I want to correct. I was a civilian. I've never been a member of the military, so I ended up working for the National Guard. So I came into town after the storm. I was out of the country racing my bicycle, and I came in after the storm, immediately got on a boat. I found a series of bigger and bigger boats after that, and several days later is when the National Guard came in, and they didn't ask. They said they were taking my boat, which I said I was fine with, and then they inquired about where I was from and what I was doing here. When they realized, that I had some local knowledge, they asked me to join them. So I spent 3 weeks in the military.
And then you went out, took your boat, you went, I guess, to your mom's house, but you started to go through neighborhoods that you knew. And I mean, we've seen the pictures, Ken. There are people on their rooftops. There are people up to their necks in water. And I can't imagine what you saw, the human tragedy that you saw unfolding in front of you. And you rescued 400 of these people.
Yeah, it was, a gut-wrenching experience. You expect to see these things in third world countries. You expect to see them on the news happening elsewhere, but to be standing on the corner of St. Charles Avenue and Napoleon Avenue and seeing this flood of humanity walking out of the water with all their belongings.
And they just started surrounding you, didn't they, Ken? You all of a sudden found yourself surrounded by people and you had to back out at one point because of all the people who needed help.
Yeah, I was in my car that day. That was the first day I got into town, and I was in my car. I ended up picking up a couple of neighbors who were suffering. They were diabetics, and their insulin had gone warm. I ended up in a crowd of people that swarmed my car, and it was a lot of tense situations like that early on.
You didn't just save people; you saved a lot of pets, didn't you?
Yeah. The pets were a lot easier than the people. They always came on the boat. I rarely left a pet behind because they were always just so willing to hop on the boat. The people were a bit more difficult.
This is a difficult question to ask some people, but especially what you've been through. Are you still haunted by what you saw?
Yeah, I've come to terms with it. For a while, I was kind of suffering through the whole thing. Months after the storm, we were having Mardi Gras parades right on the ground where there were people, who had deceased and were floating in the waters right there on those streets. And it made me angry just because there wasn't an ongoing recognition for what happened in certain places. And, the Mardi Gras parades, they all start in an area uptown. And, people were completely unaware that part of town flooded and there was so much death and destruction just right behind them.
I only got about 30 seconds left. Your boat is now on display. People can see it, actually, and you've had pictures taken of it, of the boat as well. Are you a hero?
No, I don't consider myself a hero. I was, I was single, no children, I was here, and I was just doing what came naturally. It was nothing heroic. I was just driving a boat and giving people a ride from their house to dry land. It was difficult, but not a hero. The National Guard guys who were with me, they all came straight from Iraq and Afghanistan. Those guys, they were heroes.
I tell you what, heroes I have found in my lifetime are usually the last people to admit that they are. And you, with what you did, you are a hero, my friend. We also want to point out that you're now a pro cyclist, Palmer Cycling. You're writing a book called The King of Uptown, which hopefully we will read one day. Ken, thank you very much for your time. Take it, my friend. You're a hero. We appreciate your time. And stay with us, because the fastest 60 minutes in news, The Hard Line, featuring more heroes, will continue.